So, here I am at Fully Charged Live in Sydney 2024, and I did an interview with Dan Caeser, CEO of Fully Charged Limited. Here it is. So, I'm really honoured to be here with Dan Caeser. He's the CEO of Fully Charged Limited, which is the holding company, if I've got that right.
Yeah, we've become a big corporate entity now. We're kind of a holding company. We've got so many different entities beneath us. Yeah, it's exciting.
No, look, I mean, how long have you been CEO for now?
Well, I joined in 2016 on the proviso that I could help work out how you actually make money out of YouTube. I was just leaving another job at the time, so I officially started in 2017, and Robert asked me to come in and lead it. I ditched my normal job, so my consultancy, because I was so passionate about it. And it's, the Fully Charged show on YouTube was just sort of semi-legendary. Robert Llewellyn is legendary, and it was just
Dear old
great
Crichton.
Dear old Crichton. It was just a great opportunity, and,
Yes,
I just felt he was doing something that really deserved a bigger audience.
I interviewed him last year at the other place and talked to him about Crichton and Red Dwarf, a favourite show of mine. You've been in the clean energy space for a while before that, though, weren't you?
Yeah,
many years.
I got into the energy industry in 2003, and I fell in love with solar panels and heat pumps very early on, and I've been promoting those in some form or another for a long time. So I used to have my own set of events called the Renewables Roadshow, and I was, I guess, a communications guy who also could run events. Hence probably why we're here today. And then I worked for the Department of Energy and Climate Change in the UK as a consultant to help them launch their renewable heat incentive. I was doing things like building energy-saving homes at shows years and years ago. I got my first EV in 2015, so not as early as Robert, but certainly a good while ago.
Was that, a Leaf?
That was a BMW i3.
Oh my goodness me,
There
weren't a big choice back then. I think it was the iMeave.
There wasn't a lot of choice then. So that was a transformative moment. I think I was doing lots of stuff on renewables, and one of my clients said, "It's great that you're so sustainably minded, but you can't be driving around that Audi TT." And I said, "You know what? You're probably right." So once I did my calculations on a spreadsheet and spoke to my wife, I said, "Actually, I think this is going to be a really good choice." And it was that car, the BMW i3, was amazing. And
you didn't get the Rex
never
version,
looked back.
did you?
I did, but I took great pride in never using it.
Yes. I mean, I started off my EV journey with a FEV.
Yes.
And it would do about 40 Ks on the battery, and work and back was 20 Ks or 19 Ks each way.
Yeah.
So,
I was one of those very kind of early EV drivers who was determined to make it work. So I did have a range extender. I don't think I used the range extender at all in the first 2 years, but I used it a couple of times towards the end before I got one without a range extender. But I remember getting it and going into London, and I live about 30 miles outside London. So I would drive into London, park at the office, come back, and then just hopefully make it all the way home.
Yeah.
Even in the dead of winter, so I wouldn't turn the heater on. So I'd get to the office absolutely freezing, but I was determined not to use the range extender. So I do remember those early electric vehicle days with fondness, but now people don't have to go through that anymore.
No. What do you drive now?
I have a Tesla Model 3 now, and my wife has an MG4.
They're nice cars.
They're good.
I've taken one for a
they're
test
really,
drive,
really
and
good.
I really did like it.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, I'm very lucky. I've been like a kid in a sweet shop. I've been able to drive a few cars, and there's some brilliant ones out there now. Really, genuinely brilliant cars out there. Yeah.
So you said earlier that Robert brought you on to get the YouTube pay. I mean, YouTube doesn't really pay unless you're certain people with 20 million subscribers.
Yeah, that became quite apparent really to me quite early on that you can't cheat the growth. The growth will come at the speed that it comes.
Can you help me?
Absolutely, I can help you. But I mean, the reality is that electric vehicles, while it is approaching the early mainstream now, it's still so niche. So you're talking about a niche topic. So until most of the world is interested, it's never going to get that
I even cover climate change and renewables, and they're still a niche sort of thing, and a lot of people don't believe in climate change anyway.
Well, we fundamentally, the reason why I got into the space was because I was concerned about that, and I was concerned about air pollution. But whenever we mention climate change or air pollution on the channel, people switch off.
Yeah.
A really sad indictment. I don't think it should be that way, but that is the way it is. So we tend to use I guess, how cool the cars are and how cool the technology is as a way to reel people in. And if we can get them to buy these sort of better technologies because they think they're cooler, then so be it. But yeah, it is, for me, the climate issue is ever present in my mind.
Yeah. Now, for some time, I've been using an expression on my channel, stop burning shit. But you've taken that and changed it to a little bit more polite, stop burning stuff.
Yeah, stop burning stuff.
And you're trying to FUD bust.
Yeah, we had I remember I sat Robert down in his garden, I think it was after Fully Charged Live 1, so the first exhibition we did back in 2018, and that got us into a position where we had some money, and I came across sort of full time, and I said to him, well, what does this mean to you? What does it stand for? What is the mission? And he said, stop burning stuff. So that's long been in our minds, and we did various stuff under that hashtag, if you like. We did various things about that. We went to COP26 in Glasgow, and we did some stop burning stuff activity. But then last year it really came to life because we were seeing more and more negative press stories in the UK in particular about electric vehicles. And we were like, we've got to do something about this. We can't stay outside this. So we've set up an initiative, if you like, which is funded by patrons, where we sort of tackle misinformation head on, whether it's stuff that's written in the press or stuff that's on radio or TV or with politicians directly.
Yeah, I mean, in this country, we've got a lot of that because the Murdoch media empire is very much climate change rubbish, EVs rubbish.
Yeah.
And, I've driven past heaps of petrol car fires, and then you see on the news, Tesla caught fire.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think probably it's telling that the EV fire story, which is being blown hugely out of proportion, is now a go-to story because actually the infrastructure's not that bad. The cars are getting cheaper. The range is much longer of these cars anyway. So, there has to be some sort of criticism, but as you're probably aware, and we can, provide you with the context for this, but electric cars, are 19 times less likely to catch fire than a combustion engine vehicle.
I know, but they're the ones that get on. Even when that car carrying ship burnt, and they got the cars off, and then they found all the EVs were drivable off because they were on a different floor, but it was never reported. No, I had friends writing to me going, blooming EVs, they're catching fire on the ship.
Yeah, no, so, what do they say? A lie goes halfway around the world before truth puts its trousers on. That's the reality.
And they never
correct the stories after.
Yeah, look, we got that wrong, terribly sorry.
Yeah, there was a similar story with a car park fire at Luton Airport in the UK a few months ago. Yes. And it was actually, I think, a Range Rover. And it caught fire, but the assumption was, and then the kind of urban myth became that it was an electric car fire, which it wasn't. Yeah. So it's tricky, but I mean, I think the main thing, we're here second day of the Sydney show, and we've actually had the fire service coming round to look at the cars because we've actually invited them round because they're interested to find out more. But the truth is, and you've got a great organisation here in Australia called EV Fire Safe, I'm sure you're aware of them. And the truth is that they are much less likely to catch fire, but obviously people are concerned about thermal runaway. But LFP batteries, new lithium-ion phosphate batteries and sodium-ion are orders of magnitude less likely to catch fire.
Yes.
So actually in 5 years' time, when LFP and sodium-ion and even solid state and semi-solid state are common, battery fires, they won't even moan about that because they just won't happen. So we'll get there, but it is a constant stop BS we call it, BS. Yeah.
Stop BS. Or stop burning shit.
Yeah.
I've been using that for a while on my channel now. It's just, and I do hashtag stop burning shit on X as it is now. So what do you see the future for fully charged or everything electric going forwards?
Well, we've got ambitions to be on, grown-up telly as well. At some point, we're never going to leave YouTube. It's been very, very good to us. You get an instant global audience, but we're amazed that in 2024, there's no real electric car and clean energy show on a streaming network or broadcast TV. So we'd certainly like to make that happen if we can.
Wasn't there a programme in the UK, Fifth Gear, that covered EVs?
Yeah, they did, but Channel 5 is, with all due respect, is quite a small channel in the UK. Yeah. I mean, that's how the world's changed, right? In the UK, when I was growing up, there were 3 channels. And I remember the 4th one. Now, of course...
3? That many.
But the point is now, of course, audiences just split. So even really well loved TV programs now don't get anything like the audiences they would have got back in the day. So it's become harder, right? So you have to be, what would they say, multi-platform, right? So we're on YouTube, so we would love to be on a streamer as well in due course. The live events have got a life of their own, though, I have to say. And whenever we do them, we typically, if we go to Sydney, Melbourne says we want one. If we go to Vancouver, Toronto says we want one. So how we already do 6 around the world, so how we scale that up is something that's on our minds as well.
I mean, you've came to Australia last year and it was half the size of this one. Yeah. And next year, have you got room to expand here?
So we have.
There's a bit of space around the edge.
There's space in the hall. We can be clever. The test drive cars don't have to be in the hall. Little things like that, for example. So there's things that we can do, but there is actually alongside this there is 2 more halls. And there is a central corridor between the 2 of them. So
good.
We actually would hope that, year 3, year 4, year 5, we can take off this whole space. And you can see this whole area. The Sydney Olympic Park is a big
massive,
flat area. So it's great for test drives in particular. And we've been really pleased with the response to the show.
I mean, last year you had half a dozen cars for a test drive. Yeah. Now you've got about 50 or more.
Yeah, there should be a few thousand test drives run over the course of the 3 days. And at our peak, in London, we think we can do 10,000 test drives over a show.
That's phenomenal.
It's a real needle mover, right? People get in and they buy.
Bums on seats, and then they'll go, this isn't so bad.
Yeah, it's the big thing. The test drive has taken on much more importance because when you go from combustion engine car to combustion engine car, the need for a test drive is lower. When you go from Audi to Audi or BMW to BMW, the test drive need is lower. But if you're changing brands potentially and you've never driven a BYD before, you want to try it before you buy it. And if you haven't had an electric experience, you want to try it. So again, test drives suddenly become really, really important. And we think this is a great place to do it. It's a safe space. You're surrounded by EV experts. No question is too stupid here because everyone's kind of learning. But if you go to a dealership, you might not get such good service. You can only try one car maybe. So this is a format that's really doing well.
I've spoken to one of the manufacturers here, and that person goes out to the dealerships and tries to educate them on how to talk to people about the EV and what to say and to combat range anxiety and the apps needed and so on. I'm going, whoa, someone's got their head screwed on here because some dealerships I know go, no. If you get this one over here, it's $30,000 cheaper and goes further.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the good thing is, like, if you look at, I don't know who's downstairs, like a Hyundai, a Genesis, an MG, they'll have all their EV experts here.
Yes.
So if you go to a dealership, you might find one expert and 10 people who don't know much about it. So here you're getting that quality. You can look at different cars. It doesn't have to be just the same brand. And we know there's demand for it because every show that we do, the test drives are normally booked out after an hour or 2. Yeah. So we know we could. How many can we do? That's the key question. So each show we're working to improve the process, bring in more cars, more car companies, more test drives. So we're looking to run something like 50,000 test drives around the world or different shows this year. And there's a high conversion rate.
Potential for a lot of sales.
I mean, the people are absolutely selling a high number of cars at these shows because people are coming. They're educated already. They're desktop researching on YouTube. They're watching Jack Scarlett's review of a car, and they're going, I think that one might be for me. Backseat jack test. And then the most serious ones, the ones who are ready to buy, are buying a ticket to this show to come and then test drive and buy. Yeah. So it's been a very successful formula for us. The car companies get more and more each year at our shows, and it's been very, very exciting.
We've certainly got a lot more car companies this year than last year. You only had a handful of that.
They tend to sit out year one, a lot of the car companies, because they're like, well, what is this? Who are these YouTubers? What do they know?
And then they go, whoa, look at what we're missing out on.
And then a lot of them, and then we've had a much higher turnout from car companies this time around here. And then we've had quite a few come yesterday saying, yes, we'll be here next year. Now we've seen the light, so to speak. And that's the same pattern. And of course, when we deal with, the world's a big place. So we've got BYD going to all of our UK shows, for example. But the BYD boss in the UK is not the same as the one in Australia. So it takes a while for companies to go, we should be at all of these. Yeah, no, they are here, but they'll be here, I think, in a bigger way next time. I would expect. But yeah, there's tons of stuff to do, and of course, it's not just the cars, is it?
No. Look, that's absolutely wonderful. Thanks, Dan. I
Yeah.
really appreciate your time. I know
Pleasure.
you're running around trying to keep things running smoothly, and I really appreciate the time.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really nice.
Thank you.
So that was absolutely brilliant. I want to thank Dan for agreeing to spend 10 or 15 minutes with me. He's really busy at the show because he's organising it. So thank you very much, Dan, and I'll see you all very soon.